Looks like Gigabyte's entering the 8th generation in a big way. We've talked about this killer laptop from Gigabyte before, but now it's back and better than ever. The Aero 15X falls into that diverse category of powerful PCs that don't scream gamer, but with a Max-Q cooled GTX 1070, an 8th gen i7 8750H CPU, and a high refresh rate display, you're looking at a quality gaming experience in an unassuming shell. It's on the upper end of the laptop spectrum, but given the guts of this thing, that's not a huge surprise. It's got the same basic design as the previous versions of the Aero, but in this case, that's a good thing. The aluminum chassis feels durable, and even with the upgraded tech, it's still only 4.6 pounds with the battery. At 3/4 of an inch thick when closed, you're packing a lot of power into a tiny frame. The 15.6-inch Full HD IPS display has received a serious upgrade. Though it's limited to 1920 by 1080, the panel has been updated to a 144 Hz refresh rate, meaning very smooth gameplay. The thin bezel gives it a modern look, and the unique bottom-facing webcam still sets it apart in the market. The display looks great, though we're hoping for G-Sync next time around. If you're going GTX 10 series at this price point, let's go all the way. You'll also be able to get the Aero 15X with a 4K display if you'd rather go high resolution over high refresh rate. For storage, the Aero 15 is packing a 512GB NVMe M.2 SSD, so you're looking at super fast load times and data access. The 16GB of DDR4 RAM means responsive performance. The Gigabyte Fusion keyboard is full RGB. And though it's not quite mechanical quality, the key spacing is comfortable and the actuation point is perfect for typing. The trackpad is one of the best around, with a smooth, responsive feel. That's one feature that hasn't changed, and we are 100% okay with that. As far as inputs and outputs, the Aero 15 is fully loaded with full-size HDMI 2.0, mini DisplayPort 1.4, good for 4K 60Hz on an external display, Intel's super versatile Thunderbolt 3, a full-size UHS 2 SD card reader, and triple USB 3.1 ports, as well as Ethernet for those of us who like to hardwire. We didn't have a chance to benchmark every component, but we were able to put the 8th gen Aero 15X through its paces with some software. The 15X pulled a very respectable 3D Mark Firestrike score of 12,750. We also ran Skydiver, and the Aero scored a 31,285. Skydiver is a benchmark designed to compare the performance of laptops, and the Aero 15X is up there with the best in this form factor. Numbers are important, but to see how the 8GB 1070 performed gameplay-wise, we headed to Montana to off some cultists in Far Cry 5. Ubisoft's detailed open world is fairly demanding, but the 1070 handled it like a champ. We were getting about 75 frames per second at max settings with the VSync on. Pretty impressive. Blizzard's highly optimized Overwatch ran like a dream at ultra settings, consistently getting over 100 frames per second throughout our matches. Long story short, this sleek, modern-looking laptop can keep up with demanding AAA titles in a big way. That being said, when the GPU was working hard, so were the fans, and you can hear it. It's not hugely surprising, given the power of the GPU. The good news is that the thermal design does its job. Though the 15X does get hot, especially above the fans, there was zero discomfort from the keyboard even after extended sessions. Max-Q at its finest. Just keep your headphones handy if you plan on playing for a while. Battery life is going to vary depending on use, but Gigabyte claims 10 hours of use from the 94.24 watt-hour battery. Though if you're running the 1070 constantly, you're probably going to want to stick near an outlet. Overall, the Gigabyte Aero 15X is still one of the strongest contenders for a do-everything laptop that can handle top-of-the-line games and fit right in at a board meeting.